Hello everyone and welcome back to round 9 of season 3 of the F124 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. If you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Montreal, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. We're over a third of the way through this season, and so far things are going pretty well for us in the campaign. We have an 82-point lead over Charles Leclerc. We are averaging 10 points a weekend that we're pulling out ahead of the Monegasque driver there, so I think we can be pretty happy so far with the way things are going. Yuki Tsunoda still in third ahead of Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez. Of course, Checo coming off the two back-to-back victories so far in this campaign. It's nice to see Sergio finally kind of getting up to speed and building some confidence with the car, and I think if he continues to do that, then he will likely keep his seat throughout the rest of the year. I mean, last weekend, though, for us wasn't particularly fantastic. We got a little bit screwed over with an unlucky red flag. It was our first non-podium finish of the year, but we still were able to beat our main championship rivals as well. They're continuing to extend our gap over Charles Leclerc in the world title. Of course, if you're new, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody as well for getting us over 5,000 subscribers. Maybe we can get to 6k by the end of the year, but yeah, I've got plenty planned for 2025, which I hope you guys are going to love as well. But anyway, let's head out then down onto the circuit, ready in Barcelona.
Hello everyone, it is a track the drivers know oh so well. It is qualifying in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Well, if you guys have been keeping up with the driver career mode over on the main channel, we've kind of accidentally managed to overlap the series again, where they've just ended up pretty much at the same point as each other in terms of the championship. But yeah, if you watched that video, I mean, spoiler alert, it didn't go too well for us, so I'm hoping we can have a bit better luck this weekend in this series. I mean, apart from Montreal last weekend, pretty much everything has fallen into place for us so far in this campaign. Luckily, because this series is sticking to the full calendar, we will obviously, very quickly the other series will move further ahead in terms of the calendar once more. But I'm hoping, we should pretty much get both series wrapped up by the end, or at least this season of both series wrapped up this year, of course, before we head into 2025. Obviously, the first few months will be a little bit quiet. We'll just be kind of finishing F124, preparing ourselves for F125. But hopefully, Coders and EA are going to provide us with plenty of information, and hopefully that'll allow us to make plenty of content as well for you all. But yeah, George Russell then provisionally fastest on a 110.6. And as we round our way through the final couple of turns, the car is feeling very, very good here. Very, very stable. So hopefully I'm going to try and get a good time on the ball. Probably haven't used as much ERS as I should have here, but out of the final corner up towards the line, we do a 10.7. We actually go slower than Checo. It's everybody getting geared up then, ready for their final runs. It's Aston Martin that are the competitive ones here. Alonso provisional pole, and Zhou Guanyu as well, joining him on the front row of the grid, so that would be a turnaround for the books if Aston Martin are able to do that today. And I know, obviously, Fernando Alonso, he would love a win in front of the home crowd here. If I want to try and spoil their party, though, we need to try and find about another half a second on this lap. So as we make our way in towards turn 1 there, just got to remember to try and use a little bit more battery, but also keep the car tidy and in between the white lines there, slightly wide through turn 2. We'll compromise our run up the hill and in towards turn 3. But yeah, when you get this circuit nailed now, it really is so much fun. Obviously the higher downforce and everything else, but a lot of long flowing corners, and I think this track has been completely saved by the removal of that final chicane. I genuinely now look forward to doing a Spanish Grand Prix inside F124. It's up through Capsa, of course, completely flat out through there. Try and use just a splash of battery on the exits. Doesn't look like many other cars are improving here. One of the Aston Martins crossing the line. That will be Zhou that goes to P1. Alonso is not too far behind though, and he will go into the 109s. So a very, very quick lap time there by Fernando Alonso. We're not going to get anywhere close to that. But as we send it through the final corner, where will we end up on the grid? P7. Well, honestly, I thought the car was going to be a bit quicker here than that, so that is a bit of a shame. I know it's not the best qualifying car in the world, but yeah, I think we're going to need to start bringing some upgrades as we head into the European leg of the campaign here. But 7th on the grid for us, 9th on the grid for Sergio Perez. I guess the saving grace is, again, we are ahead of both Charles Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda. But let's not forget Alonso, currently still P4 in the championship. A win today could really vault him up the order.
Circuit of Barcelona Catalunya has been on the calendar for over 30 years now, and it has served up some classics. Michael Schumacher's first win for Ferrari in 1996 in the rain. We have much better weather here today for the Spanish Grand Prix. The Circuit of Barcelona Catalunya runs to 2.9 miles. It's a heady mix of high and low speed corners. Look out for the high downforce arc of turn 3, the 2 DRS zones, and the chicane at turns 14 and 15. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Fernando Alonso lines up on pole position, and Zhou Guanyu completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Mr. Monaco, Leclerc, Perez, Gasly, Russell, Tsunoda, Ocon, Albon, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Hamilton, Stroll, Teo Porcher, Hauger, Ricciardo, and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Welcome to the commentary box overlooking the circuit. I'm Alex Jakes, and joining us for the race today is Naomi Schiff. Well, it's all about forgetting last time because that was a bit of a shocker. How did they change the story today?
It is true, they had a really tough day in the office last time out, but they cannot dwell on that. It's so important to turn the page and start on a blank slate, because the more you dwell on that, the less it's going to push you in the right direction. So take some notes. Obviously, there's things to be learned, but move on.
Based on our standards so far this year, P6 is a bad day in the office, but yeah, I wouldn't complain too much if we ended up there again, especially this weekend. McLaren, Aston Martin, Red Bull, Ferrari, all looking very, very racy around this venue. But let's see what we can do then, lining up P7 on the grid. I didn't even look at strategy, so we might struggle a bit on these soft compound tyres. It's 5 red lights, and it is going to be lights out, and away we go there. Lando Norris getting off to a rocket ship launch, but immediately try and cover and move past Carlos Sainz, who's going to get a little bit boxed in behind his former teammate and this current one, as we will try and have a look around the outside of Verstappen through turn 1. There has not been much of a threat this year, and I'm going to absolutely slam the door in his face through turn 2. Alonso and Zhou flying formation through those first couple of corners as Sainz now makes it a double Spanish podium on lap 1. So yeah, the home crowd, I'm sure, will be loving that one. But for Fernando Alonso, he always seems to do well around this circuit inside this game, and when you compare that to real life, it's actually one of his weakest tracks in modern day Formula 1 as well. But what will Zhou Guanyu be able to do? Apparently I'm able to light up the rear wheels there as we're trying to build up some temperature. But yeah, Zhou Guanyu though, what is he going to be able to do? First real opportunity he's had all year. First time he's looked like he could potentially be competitive against his double world champion teammate. But yeah, let's see what we can do though. Fairly tidy lap 1. We have gained 1 spot, so we're back to where we finished in Montreal. Of course, we all know Barcelona is absolutely dominated now by this front straight, and with how much easier it is for the cars to stay near each other. Yeah, all of it is about trying to line up a move down here. Was not expecting a new fast lap of the day, as we're already starting to struggle just with tyre temperature a little bit. So wouldn't surprise me if we have to go for a slightly early stop and make the move over to the hards. But just watching our top runners then around the lap so far, it seems like Alonso, understandably, has a little bit more pace than Zhou Guanyu, but I don't know whether the team have told Zhou just to hold position, whether just to defend from Sainz behind, but no one really seems to be able to do anything. This is the problem, of course, we've moaned about so many times with F1 24, but of course, with the way the ERS and the DRS work, it's basically the car at the front of the train that can really do anything. Obviously, the car in P2 could try and attack P1 there, as we are going to try to have a look past Fernando Alonso. Oh, Alonso's locked up. As I was trying to look around, Lando Norris in towards that first corner. So Zhou Guanyu is going to lead a Formula 1 Grand Prix. I believe that's the first time that's happened inside this game. But Zhou Guanyu out in front. And while the Spanish crowd might not enjoy that, I'm sure the Chinese fans are loving it. Well, are we now going to see Carlos Sainz being able to get the run on Zhou Guanyu? Now he's not got Alonso to try and help him out there. We are once again going to see if we can force the issue against Lando Norris. As there we go, battle for the lead as well. There's all Lando trying to have a look for a move on Oscar Piastri, and we will try and get around the outside of both McLarens down at turn 1. Thank you very much. And Oscar Piastri there, I think he thought Lando was trying to attack him rather than defend from us, so went defensive against his teammate. There was an open door around the outside, and luckily, turn 1 is just a little bit cambered on the outside there. It allowed us to carry the speed, and we are up into P4. Oh no, that's not good. Checo Perez with some issues. We've got some yellow flags out as well. So I believe someone else is breaking down. That's a Williams car down at the back of the order there, as we haven't quite got the DRS on those two Aston Martins in front. Logan Sargent's our first retirement of the afternoon. As look at that, Alonso. He's clearly taking a tip out of our book there, trying to go past 2 cars in the braking zone. He'll get past 1, and now look at that, the 2 Spanish drivers wheel to wheel. Fernando Alonso, and a man that idolised him for so long. But Carlos Sainz is trying to deny Fernando another win here in Spain. Well, here we go, Alonso again, now trying to have a look for a move on Carlos Sainz. See Zhou Guanyu trying to save some battery a little bit further back. And again, we will capitalise there, and again, another move made around the outside of turn 1. I mean, we've got to get our elbows out here. We've got to try and move our way forward. But yeah, Perez already starting to struggle. We have definitely got a slight overheating problem with the tyres. Let's take a look there, 115 degrees on that rear left. But I think when we make the switch over to the mediums, we probably will be just under the threshold. I mean, these two are really putting on a show for the home crowd right now. Carlos Sainz again to the inside of Alonso at turn 1. But what they're also doing is allowing World Championship leader into the fight as well there. As again, I mean, neither of them are willing to give up on this. They both want to try and be out in front. I think the dirty air here can affect things quite badly. But now we are right with them. Definitely got the speed to attack through that final corner. I think we're just running a bit more downforce than most of our competitors there. As, oh, I wasn't expecting Sainz to be as slow as he was. We are going to be on the inside line for turn 1 as Alonso. Alonso just gave us a bit of a squeeze there. Carlos Sainz, I think there was contact made with him as well. And well, somehow we've all got away with that without any damage. But yeah, almost spinning off of Alonso's diffuser. That would not have been good. The team want us in then at the end of this lap, and I'll be honest, I think 20 laps on a set of mediums might just be a little bit too far to go towards the end of the afternoon.
Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach, and make sure you don't speed.
Oh, that's the problem though. Tyre warning light has just flashed up. Luckily, Perez is so far behind now that I don't need to worry about whether he wants to try and dive in at the end of next lap. As Fernando Alonso then race leader into the pit lane. We got to try and get a run on Carlos Sainz then this time around. He's going to try and use some battery in towards turn 1. He's just playing mind games with it. So we will try and get to the outside there, but we've got to be careful of Alonso trying to undercut the pair of us. I think he won't come out in any traffic either, luckily for Alonso here. So yeah, Sainz and I, it is going to be a battle in the pit lane. We've got to try and be right up behind Carlos then as we make our way in through Sector 3. Normally the AI are a little bit braver on their pit entry than myself, but hopefully we can try and stick right with him there. Obviously Ferrari's pit box much earlier than ours down the pit lane entry as well, so he has got to be quite careful with that one. That's nice and tidy on the brakes. Oh, just about get it slowed down there on the way in. As Zhou Guanyu, Oscar Piastri both in right behind us as well, so I don't think Sainz is going to get held up by anyone too badly. We've obviously got, yeah, the long run down to our pit box. There is Alonso. He's got a really good jump, actually, so that's worked out well for him. Are we ahead of Sainz? No, we're not. And the problem as well you've got by being the 11th team here is you actually get a little bit held up on pit lane exit in Barcelona, so we have got to be careful with that one as well. It doesn't let you take the limiter off as early as it does for other teams, but Sainz has actually come out on the hards. So they're going to take a little while longer to try and warm up. So we are immediately... Oh! I wanted to try and take him by surprise, but Carlos told me, no way. I mean, that is a really healthy undercut that Alonso has been able to get here. As again, that time round, we will commit to the move against Carlos. I mean, it's probably in his best interest now to sit behind us for a few laps because we know his tyres will be good towards the end of this GP. But yeah, Fernando just getting held up a little bit by Hulkenberg. I don't know who else that is. Might be Williams, I think. Yeah, Alex Albon into the pit lane. It was actually Esteban Ocon that was leading here, so they're all going to go to hards to the end. Yuki Tsunoda, new fast lap of the day, as I've just got a gaggle of cars closing in behind. Mark, I don't care. We've got bigger things to worry about. Oh, Bottas is gone. Okay. Must be a mechanical failure as well for the Kick Sauber then. That kind of, well, we didn't really spot that one. Kind of came out of nowhere. But I tell you what, Alonso's pace at the moment, he's taken nearly 4/10 out of us that lap. Alonso is relentless here. We're going to be under pressure from Oscar Piastri on the run back in towards turn 1. And without the help of DRS, this is going to be a tough few laps. Well, Ferrari have absolutely screwed over Carlos Sainz in terms of strategy. That's not a particularly big shock though. So it's actually allowed Oscar Piastri and I just to break away from him and Zhou Guanyu there. So I'm going to try and play the game with Oscar. I think this is going to be our best shot if we want to try and catch up to Fernando. It's just to keep slipstreaming past each other. Right, come on then. Oh, I mean, come on, Oscar. Pick a lane. If you're going to swing defensive, you've got to at least properly go for it. As you see, that gap has brought it down to 2.5 to Fernando. It'll need to be pretty much perfect between us, but I think we can do it. Well, Oscar Piastri then doesn't seem particularly willing to play the game. He's going to go back past us again in towards turn 1, but ultimately, I just think Alonso's too quick late on in the day. No matter what we do, that gap is just not coming down. Luckily, we are pulling away from Zhou Guanyu and Carlos Sainz behind still, as they seem to be tripping over each other a little bit more. But yeah, I think our battle to the checkered flag now is just going to be with Oscar Piastri and deciding who's going to be joining Alonso on the podium and in what order. Once again then, just like we had on the softs, we are just starting to struggle a little bit with tyre temperature towards the end of this GP. If we take a look at what the tyres are doing, just see there, that rear left just over the threshold. So that would explain, yeah, why, you know, we just don't seem to have the pace against Alonso here. Luckily, we can stay inside the DRS range of Oscar Piastri. And I say that, the gap now suddenly is down to 2 seconds. I still want to believe I've just set a new fastest lap of the, well, new personal best lap of the day. That gap to Alonso now is down under 2 seconds, so I don't know whether he's just struggling a little bit on those tyres, whether he's just trying to play it safe and bring the car home. But if we can just take another second out of him, the fight could be back on. Come on, time is really running out. 6 laps to go. The gap down to 1.8 seconds. And I mean, we are basically just saving all of our battery to use down in towards turn 1. If we can get inside that range with like 2 laps to go, it'll give us a chance to recharge the pack, just close in a little bit more. But is Alonso just kind of baiting us into it? Gonna ruin our tyres and then be vulnerable to Oscar Piastri. Well, how many times have we seen our late race pace just absolutely ramp up just when we thought we'd given up hope? That gap to Alonso has now dipped below the 1 second mark, and we've even brought Oscar Piastri along for the adventure as well. They just see, I mean, these tyres, they will start to fade towards the end. I'm sure Alonso has done a better job on his set of boots, but if we can just try and hang close, there might still be an opportunity. There we go, we've got the DRS. We've got the DRS now on Alonso. That is critical late on in the afternoon. We are now hopefully going to be able to bag a little bit more free time tucked up behind him as we make our way through the hairpin. I mean, look at that. You can see the Aston Martin having to try and save his own battery as well there. And 3/4 of a second will be the gap when we make our way through that final turn. We still are able to keep the car completely pinned through that final corner. But as we close up in towards turn 1, this will be where the tyres start to bleed. When we're right underneath him, these tyres will be screaming for mercy. Well, after the pit stop window, I really had accepted that it would just be myself versus Oscar Piastri towards the checkered flag here. But again, this car is weird. It's not that great as a qualifier, but when the tyres are worn out and you're getting towards the end of a GP, it seems to just get quicker and quicker again against some of our competitors. Alonso, he's led plenty of laps this afternoon, but is he going to be able to hang on to the lead in towards turn 1? He'll actually let us have it there as we run a little bit wide through turn 1 and turn 2. How are the temperatures doing? We are just starting to get some overheating issues on both those left-hand side tyres there. But Alonso, has he just done the old bait and switch on us? Oh, we thought about having a look down the inside of turn 4. The move was never on there, and suddenly we've got just a little bit of breathing room. Oh, the fronts feel completely gone. They feel absolutely shredded as one more lap to go then. Here in Barcelona, are we going to be able to try and defend from Alonso? Down in towards someone there. We'll try and be nice and steady with the battery out of that final corner. We've got plenty of charge still, but it's not going to be enough. There goes Fernando to the inside, in towards that first corner. Oscar Piastri closing in as well, but he's not going to be able to do anything. But we have been in this position before, following one of the AI onto the final lap of a GP. We've been strategic. We've still got plenty of battery in the car as well, and we denied Charles Leclerc on the run up towards the start-finish line back in Imola. We've denied victories for other drivers. The only one we couldn't actually do was Verstappen in Miami sprint there. But obviously in the Grand Prix, we took Fernando Alonso in the dying corners of that Grand Prix as well. Will we be able to do the same here in Barcelona? Fernando Alonso's home track. Of course, he took his last real-life victory here all the way back in 2013, more than 10 years ago. But I'm just starting to worry that we haven't got enough left in the car. As this final sector, where will there be any room to try and go for an overtake here? Alonso, the home crowd will be cheering him on. You can see how hard we're trying to push with our own car there. One more corner to go. We're going to leave the ERS on at the final corner. Open the DRS. Alonso's done it.
The old master has done it again. Fernando Alonso takes the checkered flag.
And I just absolutely love the scenes of that in lap today. You could see how much this meant to the crowd, and you know that for the driver that's going to mean so much. You look up to the crowd and you know that the majority of them there are there for you today. So it was a great day to make it count.
It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's Grand Prix. And there are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Aston Martin on the top step.
Well, 3 cars covered by less than a second then come the checkered flag. It's not as rare as you'd think inside this series. We have had so many great finishes in recent GPs there. But Fernando Alonso from P1 on the grid, he will walk away with the Grand Prix victory there, and 25 points will certainly help his championship hopes. Second place for us, I don't think we can complain about all too much either there, ahead of Oscar Piastri. Zhou Guanyu narrowly misses out on his first podium as well, beats out Sainz, Norris, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Verstappen, and Pierre Gasly there. Gutted for Checo after 2 back-to-back victories. Unfortunately, yeah, the reliability issues this weekend for him. He did get fastest lap though, so it goes to showcase the pace he did have in the other car as well. But what does that do to our championship? Well, we have now got a 91-point lead over Alonso here, so we're just continuing opening up our margin at the top of the table. Leclerc down to 3rd, just ahead of Sainz there. Tsunoda still ahead of Perez and Max Verstappen, with Oscar Piastri, Zhou Guanyu and Lando Norris rounding out your top 10. Russell and Hamilton 46 and 29 points to their name, and still just the Alpine of Ocon, both Haskars, both Saubers and Logan Sargent, who are yet to score. Constructors-wise, an 86-point buffer over Ferrari. We'll hope to try and extend that one out in the next couple of races. Mercedes still ahead of Red Bull though, but both of them behind VCarb as we get towards the halfway stage of the campaign. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready in Austria.